When you bundle Paramount Plus with Showtime, things can get a little
wild. We live in a fast world.
What a shot! Hell yeah!
Stream it all in one place. Bundle Paramount Plus with Showtime.
It's winning time in the NBA playoffs. One team will sit on the throne at the end. But all of you can win with DraftKings Sportsbook.
For the playoffs, today's video sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, is bringing high-stake actions to all new customers.
All new customers have to do is bet just $5 on any wager, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets instantly.
Win, lose, or draw, you still win big. New customers, make sure you sign up using our promo code SMOKE.
Throw down just $5 on any wager, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets instantly.
If mobile betting is not available in your state, don't worry. You can still get in all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers, use promo code SMOKE. Bet $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly.
That's promo code SMOKE, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The NBA season is coming to a close, and that means we only have a few more weeks left of All the Smoke Same Game Parlay. Every Friday, we're cooking up the new bets using DraftKings Sportsbook. While you still can, make sure you go back and check out the All the Smoke Same Game Parlays. Head over to the app and see our picks and who we're riding with. The action only happens at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Welcome into What's Burnin'. I feel like we need that like breaking news because like 6 seconds ago, the Sixers announced they are firing Doc Rivers. 154-82 regular season record, but 20-10 in the playoffs. Sixers have lost in the second round 5 of the past 6 seasons. So this run actually predates Doc, but also speaks to ownership's frustration levels. So just start, Matt. What do you make of Doc getting fired?
Interesting. As someone who played for Doc, great motivator. I feel like at times struggles with in-game adjustments. It's been well documented all week before he was fired, just his record in closeout games or his teams blowing 3-1 or 3-2 leads. Game 7, this last Game 7, I mean, Doc is the coach, but, Embiid and Harden played piss poor. I think they know that. I think the world knows that. But I don't know, Rach, Doc has been one of those very lucky coaches that from the beginning, starting with T-Mac, on to Boston with 2 Hall of Famers, on to the Clippers with Blake and Chris, on to 76ers, he's always found a team that has at least one bona fide superstar, but 2, but his inability to get them over the hump. Record very solid, but with teams like that and talent like that, you have to win championships or at least get to the championship. And I think his inability to do that with these very talented teams is possibly why he was fired.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You look at him big picture, and there's a lot of reasons why, hey, this may be justified. But in terms of the specific of Game 6 and Game 7 in this series, I mean, his key players didn't play well down the stretch in Game 6. Right. And by the way, if Jason Tatum didn't happen to get hot at the end of that game, in the very bit of the fourth quarter, this is a different conversation. They win Game 6 at home, and they're in the conference finals, and he still has his job, and I'm sure has his job for years to come. And then Game 7, they lose a Game 7 on the road against the team that made the NBA Finals last year, that was the #1 seed for much of the season this season, with a transcendent performance from a legit star in Jason Tatum. I believe, I mean, he got over 50, but I believe the way he scored it hadn't ever been done before. I mean, there's so many things that had to happen for them to get this result. It just, I don't know. I always worry when we just are quick to fire coaches. Who are you going to get to replace him? Is that person going to actually be better? And we at least have a good free agent class of coaches, I guess. You've got Nick Nurse, Monty Williams out there, Mike Budenholzer. You've also got openings, though. It's a little bit of musical chairs. Milwaukee, Phoenix, Philly, Detroit, Toronto. Who do you think is the best candidate, and what do you think is the best job?
Real quick before I get there, it's hard, Rach, because I think, like you said, these guys didn't show up and play, but I think often the coach is the scapegoat because you're paying James and obviously Embiid, who is their cornerstone, so much money. You know what I mean? So I think they think that the coach is always going to be a quick fix, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it isn't. Back to your question, best opening, was that the question? I mean,
Yeah, what do you
obviously,
think is best opening?
Milwaukee. You got
Yeah.
Giannis. You have your entire core built. Obviously they have some decisions to make with Brook Lopez, but I think these guys have been making solid runs the last few years. They got more time to rest this year and come back healthy next year. So obviously that Milwaukee job is enticing. Um, the Philly job is enticing. The Phoenix job is enticing. There's a lot of open spots with open talent. So it'll be interesting to see who goes where, but at the same time, is the coach the fix, or is it the personnel having to do their job as players to get themselves there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're going to get to Phoenix in a minute, and I think that's a big question there. I want to stick with Philly just for one more second, though, because there was speculation that some of the Doc move was made in part to please James Harden. He made it clear after Game 7 he wasn't a great fan. He was asked about the relationship. He fumbled around for a little bit. Then he finally got to calling it okay.
Okay. Right.
Okay. Harden has a player option of $35.6 million. Oof. Remember, even if he opts out, he can re-sign with Philly. They could offer him actually the most money of any team out there. But, Matt, you've heard those persistent rumors. He's considering a return to Houston also. If you're James Harden, what would you do?
I mean, not only Houston, but where he played college ball at in Phoenix. You know what I mean? And possibly teaming up with Kevin Durant again without the Kyrie Irving drama. I don't know. Again, I don't know. This Philly trust the process has been 10 years in the making and hasn't necessarily came anywhere. And then, the Jimmy Butler's, they picked Tobias Harris over me and,
Yep.
personnel decisions left and right that haven't necessarily benefited them. Phoenix, they were high on everyone's list this year in the playoffs. And, even though they had to unload the whole house to get Kevin Durant, possibly a healthy Chris Paul could change this dynamics. But you think about, you slide a James Harden, who's a 2010 guy, in Chris Paul's spot. That brings a whole new dynamic to to Phoenix. Houston is a mystery to me. Obviously, he had a great time there, and not only in the community, not only on the court was he rocking, but in the community from a nightlife standpoint, and really just getting back in the community and helping people out.
In the community is amazing.
Yeah. He had a good time, but that is a team that, we'll talk about it later, could possibly get the number one pick with Victor, and you add James and Victor with that young core. That'd be interesting to see. But I don't know. I hate to guess where he would be, but to me, it looks like if there's an opportunity to go to Phoenix, that would be an amazing situation for I think everyone involved.
Well, look, Phoenix to me is the one where I do not. I don't understand what they were doing with Monty Williams. I'm sorry. If you look at the roster Monty was working with, especially after Chris Paul went down, how do you blame coaching for them losing to the number one seed in the West when they gave away all of their depth to get Kevin Durant, which, by the way, I'm fine with. I think if you have a chance to go get Kevin Durant, you go get Kevin Durant. But then you can't expect to win that season before you have the offseason to sort of retool. I don't know. I didn't like that one at all.
Yeah, and I think, too, I think his winning percentage is over 700, which is insane. Yeah. And you look what he's been able to do with that team. The injury to Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton either quitting or I don't even know what you want to call it, but the way that Book and KD went out there and gave their all, and like you said, Rach, a trade mid-season, and you expect it to instantly bloom flowers with key guys either being hurt or not performing is an unreasonable expectation. So I think out of all the coaches who were fired, I'm with you. That one was the one that made the least amount of sense. But we also think Aiden and Monty Williams, it hasn't been no secret they have not got along, and you don't even have to be in the locker room to know that. Obviously they give Aiden a bunch of money last year, and again come playoff time you see this guy not slapping people's hands and not performing and on the end of the bitch pouting. Maybe that was something to hopefully wake Aiden up, because they have given him a whole bunch of money. Now we got the coach out the way. What are you gonna do? So, again, I'm with you. That was probably the worst, in my opinion, firing this offseason.
It made no sense to me. And by the way, there's multiple reports out there that they are aggressively shopping Ayton. So in terms of the relationship between the two of them, I don't get why they would certainly, if they want to try to keep James Harden in Philly, and this is a bid to get rid of Doc Rivers to keep James Harden because, it doesn't seem like those two are that close, that's one thing. But a guy that you're supposedly putting on the trading block. It doesn't make any sense to me. And by the way, it does make sense to get rid of Ayton. I still have faith in Ayton as a player. I think that somewhere he will find the right fit and really be what he was projected to be, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, trade him, get back some parts that can add depth. Same thing with Chris Paul. He's got that balloon payment basically coming right now. $15 million of his salary is guaranteed, but if he gets to the end of next month of June, then $30 million is guaranteed, $30 million plus. So they are going to be looking to see what they can get for him too. And that's a case, by the way, where they might get the same amount of salary back, but in players who are multiple players, role players, guys who if one guy is hurt, the other guy might still be there. Depth. It's a crazy idea, depth.
And Rach, too, if I'm not mistaken, Aiden being from Arizona, going to school at Arizona, now playing for the Phoenix Suns, sometimes you need to get up out of that bubble. You know what I mean? Get out of the bubble, not have all these yes men in your ear telling you it's everyone else's fault but yours. Maybe a new situation, because I agree. I mean, and we talked about this, I think, last week on KG Certified. Ayton is very, very, very talented. An array of moves on the offensive end, someone who can block shots, be a rim protector, lob threat, mid-range, post. He can do it all. But I just think he's a little too comfortable where he's at, and there's probably the wrong kind of influences in his ear pointing the finger at everyone but him. And I think a new surrounding, as you said, can serve him well, because he is a very talented young big.
That team has so much potential to me. I mean, you've got KD and Book. You've already got the secret, that thing that's the hardest thing to get in the NBA. Two legit big-time superstars. I think they've got the chance to add depth. I know they gave away a bunch of stuff when they traded for KD, but they do have players that they can move to cash in for some depth. And again, I think Monty Williams was the guy to bring them along through what's going to be a tumultuous offseason. He would have been a voice of consistency. And who are you going to get who's going to be better? I mean, this is the question for all of these trigger-happy owners. It's one thing to get rid of your coach. It's another thing to replace him. Two different problems. I don't know. You didn't tell me, by the way. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, obviously, you get rid of Monty, and then you get rid of you're shopping the coach on the floor, too, and Chris Paul.
Yes,
so that's
Chris
a
Paul.
lot of structure and dependency on two guys that really kind of may have not have been the main reason the wheel was going, but a big part of the reason why the wheel was moving. So you get rid of Monty, you trade CP. It is going to be a very interesting to see what ownership does over there in Phoenix.
You didn't tell me who you think the best candidate out there is. So if Milwaukee's the best spot.
The best candidate for Phoenix.
Or just in general.
The best
of the
candidate
coaching
overall.
derby.
The best. I would just love to see, Rach, you saw what he did in Golden State with the foundation, and there's so many reasons why he hasn't been hired since, and you hear stories. I don't know what's true, what's not. But I love what Mark Jackson was able to bring to that core in Golden State. And now with that said, I mean, some guys are great young team coaches because they're very hands-on and very this and very that, and some guys can coach anywhere. So I'm not really sure how he would be, but I mean, the foundation he helped build over in Golden State before this dynasty got going, you can arguably say that they may not be a dynasty if Mark Jackson didn't allow Steph and Clay to play the way they did and everything he instilled in those young guys. So I would love to see Mark Jackson get a chance. Obviously, this is going to be a huge free agent summer for coaches, but I would love to see Mark Jackson get a real shot with the team that has everything, and then they need a coach to kind of guide the ship.
Well, I know he's been interviewing again, that teams have been talking to him. I think Mark would really be great with some of these teams, and there's enough openings out there, right?
Yeah,
so
a lot of them.
Let's see what he can do again.
With good team, Rach, I don't recall this many good teams having openings.
Yeah.
Normally it's the bottom of the barrel, like, shit, am I risking my coaching career going to this team? Like, there's a lot of teams that, you insert a player and a solid coach, and they're contenders in their conference.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, we got another team that is not have a coaching void, but may have a superstar void soon. We are waiting to see what the league office does, Matt, with Morant, yet again, flashing a gun on IG Live. I feel like I've just said this sentence recently.
Right.
Grizzlies, by the way, suspended him from all team activities. But remember, he's got a 5-year, $194 million max contract set to begin this coming season. Just rolled out that signature shoe with Nike. I mean, what was your first thought when you saw this flash across your phone?
You can't be this dumb, little homie. You just can't. You can't. I mean, he already missed out, if I'm not mistaken, was it 30 or 39 million for not making All NBA? And we all know, Rachel, to me, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, he didn't make All NBA not because he wasn't good enough. It was because
100%.
of the bullshit off the court. So you right there, you lost 40. Let's just say 40 million. Signature shoe. We looked with Nike, and it was crazy because I knew 2 years ago, I was like, he is a signature shoe type player. I'm sure a lot of other people said that. He has the opportunity. You saw Nike stand by him the first time around. We're standing strong, even though, you know, the Kyrie situation, we know with Kyrie, and they decided to step away. So you make the same mistake twice in 2 months. So now you're jeopardizing not only money that you should have had from being the incredible player you are, you're forcing other people's hands. You're forcing Nike's hand. What isn't it? Because I know Nike's taking a lot of heat right now for standing by this guy. And then you look at Powerade and the deal he just had, and he should have commercials all throughout the playoffs right now, but those are being pulled. I've never seen in a day and age where camera phones, celebrities, entertainers, athletes really have to walk on eggshells. I've never seen a group of guys tell on themselves so much. Like, it's not like other people have caught Ja flashing a gun around, or, you know, people outside of his circle. It's him telling on himself in the strip club, and his homie telling on him in the car. And if you guys know how you move and how you bounce and you getting hyped to these songs, you don't have to show the world. Just enjoy the moment. I think so often people always want to show the moment, or show them like, look at me and my homie Ja. We active. We feeling it. Give that shit up if you guys can't keep. To me, it reminds me of, you know, someone young who got money, and it's burning a hole in their pocket. They either got to spend it or show it. Like, look at this wad. Like, I came up, and luckily I was never really around guns a lot, but, you know, my dad was a little active, and I knew some people, and the rule was you only pull the gun to use it. You know what I mean? And you hear a bunch of people saying like, oh, it's his Second Amendment, and then this and that. That's not what's in question here. I encourage everyone, as long as you know how to use it and you have it registered, carry a gun if you feel like you need it, but you don't pull it out for likes and comments and to show how cool you are. Another thing that kind of took me back too is a real gangbanger out here in LA. You know, someone from the Rolling 60s got on social media last week and pleaded to Ja, like, this is not the path, bro. Like, whether you came from it or not, you're not in this, you know, and invited him out to LA and told him come roll with him and see what this life is really like. And I just think that, you know, everyone that I knew that really came from it, you know, the goal is to get out of it, not to, once you get the bread, go back to it. So it's just unfortunate. I feel like, you know, to whom much is given, much is expected. And this guy has a lot of weight on his shoulders from a standpoint of, you know, you look at him, Tatum, Booker, they're the next wave of American stars to carry the torch. You know, LeBron is on his way out, with all due respect. KD, Steph have a handful of years left. This next wave includes Ja, and he has the opportunity to be the face, one of the faces of the league. And it's just like, you want to be something so bad, it's insane. And again, I'm not saying don't carry a gun. I'm not saying if you feel like you need to carry a gun, carry that motherfucker, but just, you pull it for a reason. You don't pull it for likes and comments and dancing on social media. That's just not the lifestyle. If rappers can do that, and that's glorified for rappers, you know what I mean? But you see,
and even
people,
that, by the way, if you look at to the point, I mean, you look at the gun violence we've got in this country, you can make an argument with that too, but certainly not with the NBA. And by the way, I mean, what you're talking about is exactly the thing the league office has said it doesn't want, right? They're not saying this guy, you know, or any of these guys can't carry a gun in their private life if it's legal in the state they're supposed to be in. It is about making a big show of it. It is about the specific thing that he's trying to do, that you're talking about, that he should not do. And it's not like he doesn't know, Matt. I talked to him after Memphis was eliminated last month. I asked him directly. I said, what did you learn from this season? Here was his quote back to me. He said, I've just got to be better with my decision making. That's pretty much it. Off the court issues affected us as an organization, just more discipline. That is what he said to me.
Yeah. I mean, and you look at the Memphis situation, I wholeheartely believe that they got rid of Dillon Brooks because Ja was such a handful. Like, if we can't handle all these wild cards, Ja's a superstar, so we're going to keep trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. Dillon Brooks, although solid, second team all defense, congratulations. You're not this caliber of player, so we can't deal with both of you guys. You know what I mean? Like, one has to go, and obviously it's going to be the lesser of the players. So that's all this is, and kind of what bothers me too is just obviously he's doing it for likes and comments, but what trips me out is there's so many people trying to justify what he's doing, and obviously if he's doing it for likes and comments, he's gonna look to see like, oh, all these people are saying it's cool, and I should be like, that's not it, man, that's not it. So again, if you're his friend, you're in his circle, keep the phones down, because y'all keep telling on yourself. That's like shooting yourself. That's like Cheddar Bob from 8 Mile. Like, you keep shooting, you keep telling on yourself. Like, no one else has caught you slipping. You've slipped personally with selfies and in the car going nuts. And everyone has those moments. Everyone is feeling something. Like, Rach, we came up with real gangster music. Like, the real gangster rap started when we were coming up. So we know the energy and the feeling. But just imagine on the flip side, if you saw a LeBron flash a gun while he's reading. He loves to rap in the back of his car. Imagine a Steph. Like, although he's not them, he's carrying that same torch those guys will be carrying once they're gone. So that's why it's just like it's a morale clause. It's kids are looking up to you. You saw Michael Wilbon say his son is not allowed to wear Ja's shoe. There's just so much at stake, and it's crazy that he is willing to risk that for likes and cool points. It's just fucking insane to me.
So obviously the accountability isn't there, right? Because as I said, he knows what he should or shouldn't be doing. He said it out loud in front of a bunch of people. He doesn't feel apparently accountable, though, to anyone. He had an 8-game suspension at the end of this past season. That didn't do it. What would you do if you were Adam Silver in the league office? What do you think would get the message?
I would hate to be in this position because I think Adam Silver, by all means, people thought Adam Silver let him off easy the first time with the slap on the wrist. He went to this so-called rehab program. Did he really go or not? Is that just, is that glitter and lights? I initially said 25 to 30 games, but Adam Silver may have to make a statement this time and really show him that he's not fucking around. And Adam is the one commissioner that will do that. He will make a statement. And it'll be unfortunate if he goes a half a season. I mean, think about, again, you're losing your own money and endorsements, but now you're fucking up your team, bro. So I don't expect it to be any less than 30 games. I hope it's in that 20 to 30 range. But again, Adam may feel like he has to. And, Adam is a good dude. And if you sit down and look him in the eyes and tell him everything he feels you learned, and then you basically lied to Adam's face. So how is Adam going to...
just did that. He just did that. He just sat across from him.
Complete disrespect. So it'll be interesting to see what Adam does. I'm hoping for the lesser just because, this kid has so much potential. You know what I mean? So it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be anywhere from 20 to half the season. I hope it's not like a real smack in the face and he says you're done for the season, because that would hurt a lot of people involved. So I'm hoping somewhere in that 20 to 40 range, but hopefully closer to the 20 side.
I mean, look, I want Ja out on the court. He's one of my favorite players to watch. It sucks for all of us. By the way, the fans lose too when Ja Morant is off the court. That is a fun, competitive team. He does things every night that are just so fucking highlight worthy. It gets you up off your couch. But he's the one who's taken this away from himself. It's not Adam Silver who's going to be taking it away. It's not the people out there who are critical of him who are taking away. As you said, he told on himself. He's the one making these decisions.
And he got, again, outside of missing 40 million, which is no one wants to give away, he's got a really, with me coaching, like, he's got a really dope shoe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And seeing kids, how much they love him and look up to him, and knowing that his shoe will go, because Kyrie had a shoe that was going crazy. So you saw Ja in that, and Ja's that new wave. His shoe is going to go crazy. And you just think, he's just fucking all this up for look at me type shit. Yep. Like, again, it's not on the floor. On the floor, he's incredible. It's off the floor, young, immature shit that is going to end up hopefully not having this guy out of the league, but just hindering him and his team and his family and his community.
This is going to be interesting to see what Nike does too, by the way, because of the Kyrie decision.
Yes.
They're more dependent on Ja. So
Absolutely.
I would expect them to give him even a little bit more room, but we'll have to See, I don't know.
Let's
All right,
hope.
let's talk
Let's
some
hope.
actual basketball, Matt. I don't know. What do you think? Should we do that?
Yeah.
Celtics Heat Eastern Conference Finals repeat from last season. We know last year it came down to 7, but right to the wire, right? Heat have always played the Celtics tough. They're 2-2 this season. Do you think the number 8 seeded Miami's unlikely postseason run ends here, or is Butler and company the perfect matchup to take out the Celtics?
It almost seems like doubting Jimmy Butler, and don't get this misconstrued, but it's like doubting LeBron at times. Like, don't ever doubt LeBron. Jimmy Butler has shown, I mean, he's not LeBron. I'm not saying he's LeBron, but he's one of the most competitive grinders, blue-collar superstars we've ever had that can will his team to where they need to go, considering the injuries, and they lost their first game in the play-in, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah, I
They-
mean,
you know,
the skin of
it's
their
crazy,
teeth are here.
Right. You know, now they got guys hurt, but to get to the series, this team matches up really well with Boston, and you know they played each other last year, and you know if you recall, you know Jimmy Butler rebound, pull up 3 in transition. You know if that goes, they're going to the finals. You know what I mean? So they got guys that can guard Tatum and Brown, or at least make them work, and they got versatile wings. It's going to be fun. You know, this is the bubble matchup, and everyone was talking about the bubble was some bullshit and bubble was this and that. We're getting a repeat, you know, 2 or 3 years later of these bubble matchups. And I personally think that Boston is either the first best or second best team left in the playoffs. So I expect them to win, but it won't be easy. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami kept this amazing run going with the hopes of getting, if they can get past Boston, getting Tyler Hero back for the finals.
Well, Boston had those sort of flaky, underperforming moments in the series against Philly. I would expect the Heat and Jimmy Butler to take advantage of that better
Absolutely.
than the Sixers did.
And Rachel, we recall how well they played without Jimmy that one game and took Philly to the wire. So this is a team that is coached well, that is very prepared. And, you know, we've sung Coach Spoelstra's praises. One of the best coaches in the game, will be a Hall of Fame coach as soon as he hands it up. So like you said, that this team is not going to beat themselves, and you're not going to luck up and beat this Miami Heat team. You have to literally beat this team. So if you decide to take games off or slip, Miami's going to win that shit. They're not going to be Philly and give you a chance to play around and come back. So Boston has to play better. Jason Tatum has to be very consistent this round. And if they do that, to me, I think they should win. But there's a lot of, in the past that, I feel like Boston is going to keep the window open for this team. And that could be dangerous.
This is great for me because in sports, right? I mean, sometimes a team's just much more talented or something, and it kind of is an uneven matchup. It's close enough here that what we're really testing with Boston is what is their mental mettle, right? Because we know that on paper, they're the more talented team. Jason Tatum has shown us he can be he can just be transcendent. He's incredible. But are they tough enough to get through this round? I want to see it.
Yeah, and then, obviously, hopefully Mazzulla learned from his, non-call-in timeout. When you look at the coach, because you always want to look at the coaching matchup, too. And to me, Spoelstra is night and day. And this is not what
they got the advantage.
They definitely got the advantage on the coaching side, too. The X and O's and the strategy and the in-game adjustments. So that's why it makes it even more important for those players to come out there and really play. It's do or die every single game. There's no games off because Miami is not the kind of team that you can mess around with.
Yeah, that's a great point. Also, by the way, Tyler Hero was originally projected to come back not before what a theoretical NBA Finals run would be, but apparently he's a little bit ahead of schedule. Reports are that he's doing well. So, I mean, we don't know, but it's possible he could come back toward the end of this conference finals.
Yeah.
We'll find out. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something to
it'll be
watch.
interesting.
Get to the West over here. Lakers Nuggets, another bubble rematch, right? Both teams coming in a little stronger this time because the Lakers proved in the last round they have depth when it mattered. Anthony Davis further along than he was back in the bubble when they won the title. They've got Reeves, Lonnie Walker, Dennis the Menace all producing when called upon. And look, we still saw the toll that the Joker had on Ayton, so it is going to be rough for Davis. But what do you think? What do you think, what's your overall take up on this matchup?
Well, I mean, to back up a little bit, just as we sung Miami's praises from coming through the play-in, and we're starting to hear whispers that LeBron has the last chance guy following him around for this amazing run that they're making, and how great would this be for these guys to come in through the play-in and get through the number one seed and get to the finals and possibly win it. You know, I mean, obviously there's a lot of work to do. It's a lot easier said than done, but you know, the Lakers have got themselves here. I think the most important thing is going to be Anthony Davis' consistency. We just spoke about Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum is more consistent than Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis is going to have to win the Magic Johnson Western Conference, you know, most valuable player in order for this team to win, because this is no knock on LeBron, but, you know, age just caught up to LeBron, and for the first time we've seen it in this playoff run, and he is not capable. And again, this is not a knock. He's done it for goddamn 19 years. He's been able to put the whole franchise on his back and run them through everything. It just, age is caught up to LeBron, so LeBron is wisely picking and choosing his spots, but AD has to be that consistent piece that is going to not only make Jokic work on the defensive end, but also make Jokic work on the offensive end. And I think one thing, Rachel, they had a lot of success with Jokic in the bubble, and obviously he's gone on and won 2 MVPs since then, but they also had more depth in Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, those big bodies that they can throw on Jokic where he can't bully these guys. You know, so you have Tristan Thompson, who is a proven winner but hasn't got much burn. I heard yesterday that the Mo Bamba is being reevaluated to hopefully have a chance to play in this series, to be able to throw some fouls at him. But I think it all comes down to AD being very consistent, and then the role players. Which role players are going to shine, and can those role players shine away? You know, you got KCP, who is a former Laker, who has been played well all these playoffs, so expect him to come tough. Aaron Gordon did a good job offensively and defensively. Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, who's been amazing in these playoffs. And then on the flip side, you look at D'Lo and Austin Reeves. Can these guys answer the phone? Answer the bell when it comes to playing on the road?
Or the phone.
Yeah, both. The Lakers, you know, the Lakers have gone into Memphis and took game one, went into Golden State and took game one. Can they go get game one in Denver? Denver's favored. We're going to have to see. But AD has to be the superstar Anthony Davis. He can't be just, hey, I'm going to play defense today and be great on defense. You got to be great on both ends for this team to have a chance to advance.
Matt, Jokic isn't just sort of a better version of some of the big men that Anthony Davis has faced. He's a different version, right?
Oh,
I mean,
man.
he's craftier. He's the way he passes, all of the stuff. What does Anthony have to do differently than just sort of a straight up center that you're banging and going against?
Well, I asked Kevin Garnett this last week, like, what would you do against you know a Jokic? And it's just constantly give him different looks. It's making him work. It's meeting him higher. Don't allow him to get position. You know, once he comes over half court, ride him, bump him, make it uncomfortable, front him, send double teams from the baseline sometimes send them from the middle. Just keep Jokic guessing. And, you know, I take this back to our We Believe year when we had to guard Dirk, and Nelly put me and Jack and sometimes Al Harrington. But the one thing is we always gave Dirk different looks. He never knew where we were coming from. And although, you know, Jokic is a great passer, you want to make the others beat you. I don't give a fuck who, even if he's passing Jamal Murray, you want to make everyone but Jokic come in here and beat you. So I say all that to say they just have to keep him off balance. They got to make him work. And not only do they have to give him different looks on the defensive end, but they got to keep putting his ass in the pick and roll on the offensive end and get him tired and make him work. So it's going to be very interesting. There's a reason why he's the reigning MVP and arguably one of the greatest centers we've ever seen. So, but on the flip side, you know, we can say the same thing with the consistent Anthony Davis. He's one of the greatest power forwards we've ever seen. So AD has his work cut out on both ends. The one thing that scares me is the Lakers' depth in that front court as far as being able to put big bodies on Jokic. So we will have to see.
All right, let's get on to NBA Top Shot. The most legendary moments of the 2023 playoffs live forever as collectibles on NBA Top Shot. As the conference finals get started, the best highlights from each matchup are available as limited edition video collectibles you can own. You can start your collection today with NBA Top Shot app on iOS and Google Play, or head to NBATopShot.com. Every pack you buy between today and May 31st will also enter you to win a VIP trip to the 2023 NBA Draft. That's a good prize. I like that. All right, we got a guest question. Who do you think is going to show up big in the conference finals and win the Larry Bird East MVP? You already said that you think that the pressure is on Anthony Davis to win the MVP in the West, that that's the only way the Lakers are going to win. What about in the East?
Same thing, Jason Tatum. He has to be the reign. He's the reigning. He won the inaugural Larry Bird. He has to win his second straight award for Boston to advance. I think there's a lot riding on Anthony Davis and Jason Tatum. If they're the best players in these series, both their teams advance to the finals. If they don't, neither of those teams will advance.
Plus, Tatum won last year. It was the first time the Larry Bird Trophy was named the Larry Bird Trophy. I think you got to keep it in the Celtics family, right? If you're a Boston fan.
Keep winning it, you might start calling it the Jason Tatum Trophy. You don't know. So he's got his work cut out.
Y'all out there can start your NBA Top Shot collection today at NBATopShot.com. Get closer than ever to the game and the players you love. Sign up today. All right, let's get into the real meat of it here. Let's pick some winners. Let's get into some odds on the Raider, presented by DraftKings, the only sportsbook you need this postseason. Conference Finals, Game 1, Lakers-Denver. Give it to me, Matt. Nuggets are 6-point favorites. Who do you got in Game 1?
I got Denver winning Game 1.
With the spread? Against the spread? What are we talking? Money line?
Really I'm not someone who really looks at it. I just think straight head-to-head. I think Denver will win. They got a little bit more rest, altitude. So I'm taking – my heart is with the Lakers to win the series, but I have Denver in Game 1.
All right. And what about Wednesday night's game, Boston? 8-point favorites over the Heat.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I'm taking Boston to win Game 1 at home, but I don't know if it's going to be by the spread. I think both these series are going to be great, but I think that this Eastern Conference series is going to be just a grind, and I'm excited to see it. So I got Boston. I got the home teams protecting home court in Game 1.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I do picks on DraftKings, and I got to say, I go with the money line more than the spread usually on games. I do player points and rebounds, assists, that kind of thing. But, I don't know, man. Those spreads, either Vegas is too good at doing them to pick, or maybe
we talked about this. I don't
enough.
understand how are they so good? Like, if you watch these games,
so good.
Crazy enough, it's probably going to be 6 and 8 points, it's just like or 5 points or 7 points. Like, what? Like, who are these people?
They're too good for me.
Right.
All right, draft lottery on Tuesday night. We got to get to that before we go, because Victor Wembanyama, the big prize. This guy could turn a franchise around. I haven't seen this kind of excitement since the Zion draft, and frankly, maybe even a little bit more, because
LeBron,
Victor is such a sort of interestingly different player. He does everything a big man does, but also takes the ball up the floor. I mean, he's just been fantastic. He dazzled in Las Vegas when he did some stuff with some other prospects. Business perspective, he's going to bring you a lot of money right off the bat. So which team needs this guy most?
Well, I think the worst part about these lotteries is you're always going to franchises that have issues.
That suck?
Yeah, right. Thank you. And winning starts at the top. So you look at, Detroit, the Rockets, and San Antonio. San Antonio obviously historically has been great, but just of late they're down. So you look at those top 3 teams, and then you throw Charlotte and Portland in there at the bottom. I would love to see, since Dame is such a gun-hoer for Portland, I would love to see him get a Victor.
I mean, that'd be pretty great.
And be able to use that and mentor him and school him, because I feel like, with our brother Boogie. Boogie was a high talented. Obviously, we're not talking about Victor Wembanyama, but Boogie was great in his own way. But he went to an organization with no structure, no foundation, 7 coaches in 8 years, and that can derail a lot of young, great players, and especially a foreign player who's coming and living in the States for the first time and thinking, hey, this is how the NBA is, this is how the world is. Foundation is very important for these young stars. So hopefully he goes somewhere with a little bit of stability and some guidance from either veteran players and coaches. So off those 5 I just listed, I would love to see, if Dame is going to stay in Portland, I'd love to see Dame and Chance get big fella.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the most fun. I'm totally with you. In terms of just sort of the teams at the best odds, I hope he ends up in San Antonio of those 3 bottom teams, just because I do think Greg Popovich would give him that structure and really teach him the game. Tim Duncan is still hanging around that franchise. I just think that is the best incubator for his talents. Houston worries me just because of what you just said. I mean, it's a very similar situation to what you just described with Sacramento at Boogie. And by the way, if James Harden did decide to come back there, it's not like he's known for mentoring young players, at least not on the court.
Maybe in the community. Maybe in the community, Rach.
In the community. In the community. That's fantastic, by the way. I'm totally gonna bring that up over and over again with you. All right, I'm excited though for the draft lottery and all we got ahead. We got a good month coming up. Conference finals and finals. Matt, we'll be with you all the way. You got huge all the smoke guests coming up, right? You want to plug anything before we go?
We want to surprise people. We got a good variety of championship winners and people in the movie business and owners. So we're doing a lot of different. We're being versatile on all the smoke. So stay tuned.
All right, best show in basketball right now. So y'all be sure to catch that. You can catch What's Burning as well, available every week on Showtime Basketball, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ShowBasketball. See y'all soon.
Ja, get your shit together, bro.
When you bundle Paramount Plus with Showtime, things can get a little
Wild. We live in a fast world.
What a shot! Hell yeah!
Stream it all in one place. Bundle Paramount Plus with Showtime.